Hello.
Hello.
My name is Tracy Anderson. I'll be your instructor today. I've been a firefighter for 5 years. I volunteered for Westmoreland since April of 2016 and a full-time member of Portland since October of 2018. The topic today is going to be rope materials, synthetic versus natural fibers, the advantages and disadvantages of both. The objectives, you should be able to tell me the advantages and the disadvantages of synthetic materials used in rope construction. Here's your references for today's class. It's off chapter 9 in your firefighter skills book. Rope material. Ropes can be made of a lot of different types of materials. The earliest ropes were made from natural vines that were woven together. They would be braided together to make them stronger and longer. Ropes now are mostly made of man-made synthetic material. Different materials are better suited for different jobs. Some of the types of rope materials are nylon, manila, Kevlar, and polyester. Nylon was first manufactured by DuPont Company and manufactured in 1938 for the first time. They were actually released nationwide in 1940. Synthetic fibers have been used for ropes ever since, and as of 2020, about 8.9 million tons of nylon has been produced. Some of the characteristics of nylon is its melting point is 492 degrees Fahrenheit, makes it fairly usable for fire service. It can be in single strings or braids. Some of the advantages is it is much stronger for a longer time than natural fibers. They use fibers that run the entire length of their rope instead of natural woven ropes, which use multiple vines tied together. They are more resistant to rotting or mildew because they are easier to clean. More resistant to melting and burning. They will melt before they burn. Nylon ropes will. And they are less absorbent and can be washed. And some will even float on water, which helps with our swiftwater rescues or a downpour of rain on any fire emergency scene. Prolonged exposure to UV light, strong acids, or alkalis, on the other hand, can damage the rope, which makes some hazmat scenes damage our rope. They're easier to cut or for abrasions than our natural ropes and can be slippery when they get wet. Rope uses in the fire service. One is a extension ladder. Mostly will be natural woven ropes because when they get wet, they have easier grip than a synthetic rope material. High and low angle rescues, which is most of the time going to be synthetic rope. In this picture you see several pulley systems set up and hooked carabiners for emergency bailouts for firefighters in case you're on a second floor or third floor and you need to escape through a window that a ladder cannot get to at the time. And swiftwater rescues that can be set up for drag lines, for throw bags, and tie off to your patient or your rescuer in order to keep them safe. Summary of that: many different materials used for ropes now. most of what you will see in the fire service is nylon rope and Kevlar. And then we use natural ropes for our extension ladders. Synthetic is stronger than natural, and ropes are a very useful tool in the fire service. So if I can get to this other slideshow. We will talk about some of the knots that we used in the fire service. After this, you will be able to tie a proper bowline knot given a section of rope. This is skill drill 912. Your references, again, is going to be chapter 9 of your firefighter skills textbook. The types of knot, you have the figure 8 in its many variations. You have a handcuff knot, alpine butterfly, and our most focused on knot today will be the bowline. The figure 8 is used well to secure an anchor or to anchor something to you necessary. It can be used in a follow-through method, or you can use it as a figure 8 on a bite, which will allow you to clip a carabiner onto this or tie another piece of rope to it. You can also, if you need more than one loop, you can make a double figure 8 on a bite, which will give you 2 loops to work on your working end of your line. That would be like so. After all of your knots are tied, no matter which one, you always want to put a safety knot on the end of it, just to make sure that that knot is not going to come loose on something. Our second is a handcuff knot. It is easy to tie. It's a slip knot without a safety in it. You can use it for pulling a down firefighter out of a house. You can use it for emergency move on a unconscious patient or one that is extremely combative, whether that be from a head injury or something of that nature. The alpine butterfly multi-directional knot is good for tying rope back to itself and can be utilized in high angle rescue, swift water rescue. So if you can pull it either direction after you get it tied, and it won't come loose. And it is also good for if you need to tighten your rope around something to pull back through itself and tighten. The one that we're going to learn to tie today is going to be our bowline knot. It is also a good multi-use tool to have, and it looks like this when properly tied. You will always put your safety knot behind your knot. It can be tied around a stationary object with one hand, or without an anchor, to be able to tie, clip onto with a carabiner or purse it. We're going to teach firefighter Deckard we're gonna have him do our skill drill today, which is tying bowling. Go through your loop, around, and back through. Step. Make your loop. Feet through your backside towards you. Around your working end. And back up. You always want your extra line to come through on the inside of your loop. So, make your desired size loop. I'll give you a piece of rope here. Make your desired size loop. Look just like that.
Okay.
Bring it through the backside.
Okay.
Around your working end.
Okay.
And back up through your primary loop.
Okay.
Grab your extra and your secondary loop and pull again. See, you'll have to retie it because you need enough extra line to do your safety knot. You always need to have your safety knot in the back side of it.
Through.
Give yourself a little bit more tail on it. Coming through to you. They'll form another small loop on the standing end of the line. Pass it under, around, back through your primary loop towards the inside of your secondary loop. And grab all three of those and pull. And your safety knot will be a simple overhand safety knot in your line. It should look like that right there. Looks good, looks right. We will also have firefighter Derek show a one-handed bowling knot. Which can be used to tie around you or as he is doing. And then again, you always want your safety knot in here if you're going to use that to anchor yourself to something. Hopefully your knot won't come out, but the safety knot always helps secure it just a little bit more.
Right.
So with that, shows you that the bowling knot is a very useful knot to know how to tie, along with the other knots that I showed you. The more you know, the better off you will be, and the better prepared you will be for whatever situation you need. Any questions on anything?
So,
Alright guys, now that we've concluded our slideshow on our types of ropes and our bowling knot, we're going to take a look at what we use them for in our fire department. Our natural fiber rope that we do have is only on our extension ladders. They're used to secure them once they are placed, and the bowling knot is a good knot for that. If you look at them, you can see how susceptible they are to rot, and they will start to break and tear in the fibers. But while the natural fiber rope has one layer all braided together. The synthetic rope that we have has its straight fibers inside of a braided material, and the inside of this is where you would have your strength. Now if the outside layer was cut or stretched too hard, you would have to re-inspect, evaluate, but while you can wash this one and clean it up to look at it and inspect it, the natural fiber will soak in the water and it long term will cause dry rot on it. However, this one is much easier to grip when it is wet with the fire gloves on. Once this one gets wet, it gets slick and harder to maintain in your hands. Any questions on types or the different uses?
Can you show us a ball line and the natural woven rope?
If we pull the ladder off. We will simulate this being set up instead of actually setting it up to save a little bit of time. And you can see as it's aged, the fibers in it start to come off. A bowline knot in the extension ladder, you would set it up and get your right distance and angle on your ladder. You would take your standing end of your line, pull it tight, make your small loop just like we made in our skills practice. Come up through your primary loop, creating a secondary. Sorry. You would make your primary loop off of the run. Up through, around your ladder run, around your working end of your line, and back through your primary. And then you will always secure with a safety knot. It is not the prettiest thing on a natural fiber rope that's had some age to it, but with a newer rope it would look nicer and it still holds. It just doesn't appear as pretty.